I'm going to record this because this is, yeah, he did have fun. He did have fun. He was very sad that the place closed down. It was called the Alpine Slide in Song Mountain. It was right south of Syracuse, actually. You might have heard of it, Lexi and Bree. It's called Song Mountain. I don't even know if Song Mountain's still there, but it's a ski place. But in the summertime, they had the Alpine Slide. And it was good times. He had a lot. He had a blast. Like I said, we were super, super sad that it was closed down. But anyways, I'm going to record this here. And, oh, actually, Brian, are you recording it? Dude, thank you. Can you put this in the WhatsApp when we're done? Okay, I'll have Brian in charge of that. So, today's a special day. We are finishing up the interview, and then by next Monday, hopefully you will have the learning path all completed in full, and you'll have the entire interview all encapsulated in this recording and last week's recording and the Vector Advantage learning path. It's great seeing the completions. I get a notification on my email every time you complete a course. And I've been seeing a lot of them this past few days. A lot of you have been completing that course, which is excellent. So great job on that. Let's have it. I'd like to see all of your emails, notifications. Again, it sends automatically. You don't have to do anything. But when you finish it, it sends me the completion results. Okay. So just waiting on a few of you to do that. But again, you have time. You got time till next Monday, or the 4th. And that will be like I said, the ending of the instruction for the interview. Of course, you can always learn more. You can always get better at it. That's just really the interview has just begun at that point, because you're just starting. So it's kind of like you graduated from high school, next Monday or by the end of today after you complete the learning course, and then, college starts. Okay. And then, so you're kind of like still doing it, right? And then college is over, and so the real world. So that's kind of how the same progression of the interview is like you pass the test, you pass the learning, but now you have to do it. And then that's where the fun really begins. Okay. The doing it is a lot more fun than just learning about it. Okay. So let's finish up this document here. And as you can see, this is a multiple page document, and let's just view one page at a time here. Here we go. Okay. There we are. Blow it up for you guys here. Okay. This again is going to be in the WhatsApp group alongside Mr. Hudson's recordings of these. Okay. This will be in there as well. All right. So quick review. We talked about the intro that sets the tone for the interview. We had them do some questions, which you can use to build rapport later on in the post. And then we talked about having a 3-minute highlight reel of the job in 3 minutes or less. You're going to talk about how we have a guaranteed base pay. So if I showed, 20 customers and no one bought a thing, that there's that base pay. That's whatever it is, $550, $600. We have very flex schedules. We have the ability to show customers in person, okay, or virtual. So hybrid, we can do both. And it's a great product that's made locally to every single customer in this area. It's a local company and only in New York. And some of you can say, hey, I was actually just visited there, recently and saw the product made. You can add that if you want to. Okay, so now that's where we left off. So now we're going into the meat and potatoes of the interview, the really the crux of the interview here. And this is a recap of the video and explaining the most important parts. What are the most important parts? I'll tell you: pay, training, and recommendations. Okay. So pay, training, and recommendations. Basically, you're going to be explaining how we sell Cutco. All right. So I will go through that with you. So as soon as the video ends, the first thing I say is, as you can see, we sell kitchen and outdoor products. Not very complicated. Okay, pretty simple products. Everyone knows what a knife does. It cuts stuff. Everyone knows what a pizza cutter does. Everyone knows what an ice cream scoop does. Okay, can you guess what the gardening tools do? Okay, yeah, they're great for the garden. Okay, so they all kind of get a kick out of that when I say that. Okay, they're kind of like, okay, that makes me feel good, right? It's a simple product, easy to explain. I mentioned that we have a 2-day training seminar. Okay. And, we sometimes we do some of that, on Zoom, and some of that will be, you'll be able to meet with us in person and, in our office. But either which way that we train, we start off with people that we feel comfortable with. Okay, so that's the next point. So you talk about quick training, and then after, so you call it orientation if you want to. It's training, kind of like an orientation. Everyone kind of knows what that word means. Okay, they kind of get oriented to the product and to how to, what to say and how to say it. Then they get to start off with people that they feel comfortable with. You notice how I don't say trigger words that could make them feel a little bit disappointed. Okay, what's a trigger word? Well, you probably know this from a sales rep. When we did the phone approach, there's trigger words that you don't want to say: sales, marketing, presentation, demonstration. These are all words you don't want to say in your phone approach because they can conjure up not necessarily a negative feeling, but not a great feeling with those words. They could, okay. Say, hey, I'm selling. Hey, so what I do is I sell a product. No, you guys know what to say instead. We show a product. Okay. To people, you don't even have to be interested. Okay. I do a long presentation, demonstration. Okay, what could that mean to someone? Oh my gosh, my boss did a demonstration for us at work. It lasted like 3 hours. It was so boring. Okay, presentation. That doesn't sound exciting. No, we say quick appointment. A quick appointment. Okay, 30 to 40 minutes, quick appointment. Okay. I work for Cutco. That's fine. I work for Vector Marketing. We market to people. No, that doesn't sound right. Now, to me, marketing is fun. That was my major in college. I loved it. But marketing is a trigger word for other people. That's why we don't say it. We say, hey, we work at Cutco. Okay. Or Vector. Vector is fine. Just drop the marketing, when you're on your phone approach. Okay. I'm not talking, guys, I'm just talking about the phone approach now. Okay. I'm kind of tying it into the interview now. Okay. In the same way that I just told you about the phone approach, the interview has some trigger words that you want to avoid because are negative for some people. Like, for example, friends and family. We don't say we start off with friends and family. Now, to me, I love my friends and family. Okay. I have a blast with my friends and family. But it also, for some people, they're like, oh my gosh, I just had a falling out with a couple of my friends, and my mom hates me, and I don't have a good relationship with my dad. Right? So people we feel comfortable with. Who's that? That could be anybody that we like. Okay. People we feel comfortable with. You see the difference? Okay. I remember in college, we would, there was certain parties and frat parties and stuff like that I would occasionally attend, not all the time, occasionally. And there was a cover charge of $2 to $5 usually. And this one was like downstairs. It was kind of like in the basement of this giant, warehouse type of thing. It was a big like thing down there. And we would send, before we paid the cover charge too late, we'd send someone down and say, hey, see who's down there. Okay. See if it's like rocking. If it's fun, I'm, okay. But if it's only like 10 people there, I'm not paying $5, for a lame party. Right. So, so my friend goes down, Scotty comes up, he shakes his head. He's like, no, just friends and family down there. Okay. I mean, just friends and family of the host of the, right. So he's like, no good. Okay. Let's go to the next one. It's not worth $5. Okay. And so, that in that case, it could be, it just, so again, sometimes that word is not positive for some people. Okay. To me, it is. I mean, like I said, I have a blast with friends and family, but to other people, to be safe, we say people we feel comfortable with. So the goal of an interview, as you're starting to notice, is you want to be appealing and pleasant to everybody, not just a certain segment, not to just a certain group of the population. Okay. My interview, people feel great whether they're an 18-year-old student or a 50-year-old mom of 4 kids. Okay. They still want to do the job no matter who they are. Okay. So that's kind of what you want to make sure that you're appealing to everybody. And so we have to remove any trigger words that can eliminate certain people or certain groups of people or certain, parts of the population. So I don't care if they live in a city or if they live in the most rural of rural areas in the sticks. Okay. I have examples of all types of reps doing well with us in all of those categories. And I give examples of that so they feel comfortable. Hey, I can do this. Okay. So you're going to start to hear things where I'm kind of like capturing all, it's like a big net that captures all types of fish, not just tuna, not just salmon. Okay. All right. All right. So here we go. Let's go back to my sheet here. So people we feel comfortable with. Ready? And here, ready? Here's the quote. Here's what I say. It's in quotes. And eventually you're going to get a video of me actually doing an interview as well. So you get to see this in real time. Our reps get to pick and choose people they feel most comfortable with. Doesn't matter where they live. Okay. Now we ask that they're at least 30 years old and full-time working at a career. Okay. And the reason for this is we don't want someone to show their 14-year-old cousin, expecting to get paid on that, because that actually would not count. Okay. We only want to show people who are actually interested, who could be, interested in it. Okay. And that's why we pay for that. Does that make sense? Okay. So we only want to show people who could be. Okay. We had a college student who said, hey, can I show one of my buddies? He's really cool. By the way, this is an actual quote in my interview. This is what I say every interview. So we had a college student actually ask me, hey, can I show one of my buddies? He's really cool. He's like a really nice guy. He's really cool. So can I show him Cutco? And I said, well, tell me more about him. How old is he? Where does he live? Well, he says he's 20 and he lives in his mom's basement, but he's like really good at Fortnite. He's like a Fortnite champion. He's actually a PlayStation champion. He's like a video game champion. He's like one of the best at PlayStation. And so I said, okay. I said, that may be true, but he's probably also broke and doesn't know how to fry an egg. Right? Yeah. So why don't you show his mom, who lives upstairs, okay, who owns the house? That would be a much better presentation. Oh, yeah. And of course, his mom loved it and bought a bunch of stuff. Okay. So we teach our reps to work smarter, not necessarily harder. Okay. Pause. Okay. So guys, all these are all very important concepts. If they don't get, it's going to be a disaster in training. Okay. They're going to be confused and they'll probably drop out. Okay. So you have to be very clear of certain segments of our job before they come to training. So they arrive in training with the right expectations, right? If they come into training with wrong expectations, they're just going to do a day of training and they'll drop out. They won't even show up to the last day of training. They won't even start. It'll just be a waste of everybody's time. Okay. So I don't want to waste anyone's time. I don't want my time wasted either. So that's why we want to explain each concept very thoroughly and very clearly. So when they come to training, they already, everyone's on the same page, right? It's consistent. Okay. Otherwise, you have a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde situation where they hear one thing or assume one thing, and then they hear something else and it's different, and that's never a good thing. Okay. All right. So you guys got the age and requirement, right? Okay. 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 Um, Trying to keep this on one page so it doesn't screw up the thing. Okay. So, all right. So we have that. Now, so we talk about the training. Now we're going to get into the pay. Now we're going to explain the pay. So here's how you explain our pay program to people, our vector appointment pay program. You want to keep it very simple. Okay. Confused mind will say no. You want to give some either or examples. Remember, we pay either or, whatever's higher. We don't pay both. And you want to talk about pay insurance, which is similar to car insurance. Okay. Now this people, we have different pay rates. So this, as you can see, we're higher than 22 now. We kind of are experimenting with a little bit higher one now, and we might bump it back down to 25, or we probably won't go below that now at this point with inflation. But we usually fluctuate between 22 and 30, and whatever someone signs on is what they start at. Okay. So it's whatever they start at is what they kind of are locked in at. Okay. So it won't go lower, but it won't go higher either. So they kind of are at whatever level they're at, the base pay. But anyways, that's not part of the interview. Let's dive into the pay. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to go back into my interview mode now. I'm kind of switching between talking to you guys in TLA to talking to an applicant. Okay. All right. So I'm going to use the chat here. And I want to cover with you the pay. We have a base pay starting now, which is we're at now currently 30. Okay. So let's say someone does 10 presentations. First thing you need to know is how long does the average presentation take? Average presentation takes between about 35 to 45 minutes. 40 is the mean average. Okay. If grandma was chatty, could it take an hour? Of course, because she was asking other questions and talking about other things. So we know this because we have a timer on the presentation. When someone's going through the slides, they're all timed. So that's how I know these stats. Okay. So 10 presentations. So that doesn't necessarily mean 10 hours. That's probably more closer to 7 or 8, but we're going to pay 30 for each of those. Okay. We call that base appointment. And as you can see here in the chat, that would be a minimum of $300 in that case. Okay. If someone did 20 presentations, okay, what would that be? Well, you can just use your calculator if you'd like, or you can just, in the chat here, I have it for you. 20 times 30 is 600, and so on and so forth. 30 would be 900. Okay. It doesn't have to be round numbers of 10, by the way. I'm just using that because it's a nice round number. It could be 7 appointments. It could be 17. It could be 23, right? So whatever it is times 30. Okay. I started at 10, by the way. Case said 1475. That's actually not bad, So I started at 10. Anyways, and 10 was huge back then. I was like pumped because minimum wage back then was like $5. So we always try to be like about double minimum wage, right? We try to be around double minimum wage. So as minimum wage goes higher, we have to go higher too, because we try to be double that. Okay. Anyways, back to the interview. So 20 times 30 is 600. Okay. That is the base pay. But I'd like to tell you how the other side, the commission side, works. I'm going to use Maddie as an example. Maddie is a SUNY Brockport graduate. She graduated from college, SUNY Brockport. She started with me, though, her fall semester of her senior year and she did 10 presentations her first week on the job. Okay. And her first paycheck was $615. Now, I know I just did earlier an example in the chat there. 10 times 30 is 300. So Maddie did 10. How did she make $615? Okay. The answer is she didn't go 0 for 10. Okay. If someone didn't sell anything, they make 300, but she had some sales and the commission was higher. And so when a rep, anything over the base pay, they get to keep. So we call it either or, whichever is higher. Now it's not both. Notice how she didn't get the 615 plus the 300. That's not what I said. It's 615 instead of the 300. Instead of. So it's either or, whichever is higher. Okay, so she was pretty pumped. Now, by the way, when did she do her appointments? Barely during the week. She did maybe 1 or 2 during the week. I mean, she told me she'd come home. She lived in an apartment off campus from SUNY Brockport. So she'd come home, she'd open up her laptop and she'd do maybe a virtual presentation after class, maybe 1 or 2 here or there. But most of her appointments were on the weekends. We actually called her a weekend warrior because she didn't have any classes Saturday and Sunday. So that's when she almost did all of her appointments. Okay. I have a single mom on the team. She actually does most of her appointments the opposite. She does them during the week. Okay. Like when her kid's at school or when her kid's taking a nap, she'll do some appointments, but weekends are really busy, with, when the kid's home all day and he has to spend, so she does most of her appointments during the weekday. So reps kind of like how there's a flexible schedule there. So Maddie, in that case, again, nothing out of the ordinary. She sold 6 out of 10. 2 customers bought a knife set. Another customer bought some kitchen tools. 4th customer bought some gadgets like an ice cream scoop, a vegetable peeler. We call it an entertainer pack. It was a cheese knife in there, vegetable peeler, pizza cutter, ice cream scoop. And 1 customer bought some outdoor, some gardening tools, and her uncle was like an outdoorsman, bought like a hunting and fishing knife. So nothing crazy. On 4 people bought 4 people with nothing. Okay, 0 sale. Call it no sale. So nothing crazy, but the commission on all that stuff came out to be a lot more than the 300. So that's what her first direct deposit was. We pay Fridays, every Friday direct deposit. So that was her first direct deposit. Okay. So that's how the pay works. It's kind of like pay insurance. Okay. And it's very similar to car insurance for those of you who have a car. If you don't have a car, someone has a car. I'm pretty sure they have car insurance. I'm also pretty sure they hope they don't have to use it. Our reps take the same approach with their pay. Okay. Is, right, the car insurance. I hope I don't have to use my car insurance. Certainly not every week. Well, the same thing on our team. Okay. People say, well, yeah, I'm glad I'm guaranteed at least the 30, but nobody on our team wants to make $30. Okay. They want to make much more. They want to never have to be paid 30. They want to make 50 an hour, $100 an hour. Okay. So it's the same thing. So that's, so every week we just kind of look at to see which one's higher, and the rep gets paid the higher of the 2. Okay. Pausing. Okay. There you have it. Okay. So that's we're right on this bullet point right here. Okay. We're about to move on to recommendations. You guys see that? So I covered this and you heard that. And again, this is recorded, so you can always play this back, and you want to script that out. You want to kind of script that out almost word for word, what I said. And then you can, or even an outline form. I kind of like it out for most of you. I like an outline form better. So you can, the concept and you can say it kind of in your own words, but making sure you're not saying any trigger words. Okay. Okay. Now recommendations. So we did the training 2 days. They can start off with people feel comfortable with. We talked about how they're going to get paid each week, whether you do 7 or 70. And now we're going to see how the work continues. So it says your applicants should understand that there's enough work for the entire rest of the year, whatever, summer, semester, whatever, forever. Okay. Our actual average with the app is around 9. Okay. So we're going to talk about the concept of why we average more. Why do we average more? And they really need to feel comfortable with how we continue working. They're not going to run out of people. Okay, that's a top fear that people have. It's like, oh my gosh, what happens when I run out of people I know? Well, they should never run out because people, recommendations. And then I'm going to show you how to do this chart from 10 people always up to 1,250. Okay, so you ready? So we're going to cover this right now in the interview and in the chat. Okay. All right. Should be $615. Oh, it's a typo there. Okay. So here we go. Now, there's no minimum of appointments that a rep can show people that they know. We have people from all different ages and backgrounds. Okay. We had Jeff Augustinelli, who he graduated from Aquinas High School here locally. And he had one of those big Italian families. So he practiced for like 3 months. Okay. I even asked him, I said, hey, do you want me to teach you calling recommendations? He's like, oh, I'm still, I have one of those big Italian families. I'm still on like second and third cousins. My grandmother in Florida recommended me to people, relatives I didn't even know I had. My aunt in California, recommended me to cousins again, never met them before. I was like, oh, okay, wow. Same thing. We had Rachel Smith. She was from a really small town, okay, middle of nowhere, about an hour from my office, near Naples, Finger Lakes region in between Rochester and Syracuse, kind of middle of nowhere, kind of wine country out there, right? Just a lot of farms and wineries, a lot of land. And she came into training with a booklet. She's like, can I just practice, with these people? I said, Rachel, what is that? And she said, oh, I'm from a small town and everybody knows everyone. And they all go to like this one big church. Okay. There's like just one church in the entire area. And my mom, goes there and she gave me the church directory. So I was just wondering if I can just, there's like 400 people in here. I was wondering if I can show like all 400 people, one at a time, of course. And I said, yeah, Rachel, don't lose that booklet. It's worth over $12,000 to you. So, and that's what she did. And she went on a mission trip at the end of the summer. She didn't even have time to get to her recommendations. She was getting recommendations, but they're just like sitting there untouched right now. So she can always go back to them later, but she had to leave for out of country. But isn't that cool how she just went right through that. So some people do that. Other people practice with maybe 10 or 20, a week or two, and then they can they can go into recommendations, sooner. Okay, so I want to explain the recommendations. I'm going to use the chat again so you guys can see examples. I do want to put a quick plug in to as far as super busy people on our team. We had this kid named Mike Link. He literally had 1 week to work before he had to fly out to California for full-time, many credits at school. He was super busy. In fact, he had, it was 2 weeks. He had worked for 2 weeks. And he came to me after the end of training and he said, hey, Chris, can I talk to you after training class? I was like, yeah. So we chatted a little bit. He's like, I think I'm starting this job at the worst possible time. Okay. Worst possible timing. I said, what's going on, Mike? He's like, this week is nuts. I got a wedding this week I go to. I also have a funeral I have to attend, unfortunately. My grandma's in the hospital. I have to visit her. And my dad said, he has to move by Monday. I have to help him move by the end of the week by Monday. I have to, he's got to switch apartments. And I'm like, I'm the only one who can help him. So everyone else is, so excited doing all these appointments, 20, 30 appointments. I'm lucky if I can do 5 this week. I said, Mike, hey, we're flexible. That's okay. You have some important life events. You want to take care of those. And, whenever you can do appointments around it, hey, that's up to you, but we'll be here for you. And he was like, oh, really? I never had a manager care about my personal schedule before. They just told me when I had to work or else. And I was like, no, dude, we're flexible. He's like, all right, cool. So he did those 5. He actually, his first paycheck was $465. Okay. He thought it was going to be 125. And the pay rate was 25 back then. He thought it was going to be, actually, I think it was 22. He thought it was going to be like whatever, a little over $100. Okay. And I said, no, Mike, you had some sales, you sold 4 out of 5, so the commission is higher. So your paycheck this Friday is going to be $465. He's like, oh my gosh, he was so pumped. He's like, here's the best part. My grandma's out of the hospital. I helped my dad move. I got those events behind me. This week, the week before school starts, I'm going to go big. I'm going to do a lot more. I'm going to do like 15, 20 appointments. Okay. So you can kind of see he really enjoyed the flexible scheduling there. All right, pause. Now, before I go into recommendations, guys, I hope you hear these stories, these actual real life examples. These are real people, Maddie, Mike. This is of course all exactly what I show examples in training class. I tell an example. And I say, here, let me show you Caleb's paycheck. Okay, let me show you how the savings withholdings came out. Okay, so I back it up with actually real, live data. Okay. In the, whenever I can. Okay. Anyways, so that's Mike. So when you hear these stories, I hope you hear, no matter who the person is, they're saying, oh yeah, that's me. So the key concept is you want to have a lot of me too's, and you want to eliminate not me's. Oh, that's not for me. So when you're looking at when you're listening to yourself, and when you're looking at your outline, you want to make sure that people say, oh yeah, me too. So when I say something, hey, this person was really busy, someone in the applicants can be like, oh, me too, I'm busy. And when I say someone, hey, this person, Maddie, who's a college student, oh, someone in the, oh, me too, I'm a college student. Okay. When I say single mom, some people say, oh, me too. Okay. When I say someone on our team is retired, oh, me, I'm basically hitting examples where someone says me too. Okay. And then you want to eliminate anything when someone says, that's not for me. What if I said like, hey, I have a standard in my office, which I don't, by the way, but if I have a standard in an office where someone, you have to do 20 appointments every single week without fail. Okay. Well, wouldn't that eliminate a lot of people who are looking for like a part-time job or flexible job? That would just eliminate them right off the bat. They just would probably leave right in the middle of the interview. Okay. So, you, and as you know, we don't have that same, but if I was saying things that were, too strict, schedule wise, then people are just going to, eliminate themselves. Okay. And they're eliminate themselves. All right. So same thing with recommendations. See, recommendations you want to do a really good job on, because that is one of the fears that people have is, what if, will I run out of people? Will I just like run out of work to do? Okay. So you have to kind of show them that we have a sustaining approach that gets recommendations, and we can move on, once those initial comfortable people are done, we can move on to recommendations. Okay. So here's how you cover that. All right, here we go. All right, the last thing I want to cover is the recommendations. Now, you may have heard the term referrals or references or leads. That's more of a company term. It's more of a corporate term, leads. Okay. If you had any of those terms, they all mean the same thing. Okay. I'll call them recommendations because that's exactly what it is. Just like if you got recommended to a good movie or a good restaurant. Okay. That's why I call it recommendation, because that's like the purest term for what it is. Well, we get recommendations from all of our customers. We ask for recommendations from all of our customers. At the end of the presentation, we basically say, hey, did you enjoy it? They say yes. You say, what do you think of the products? They're like, oh my gosh, outstanding, super high quality, phenomenal. We say, great. Well, here's how you can really help me out. You see, Mrs. Jones, I get paid every time I show Cutco to someone, but I only can show people I've been personally recommended to. We don't randomly call from a phone book. We don't randomly canvas around. So who do you think would be nice enough to take a look? Not necessarily buy. You see, I get paid either way. Someone just nice enough just to take a look. Oh my gosh, they say, my friend Susie loves to cook, and my friend Carol likes nice things, and I'll recommend you to Betty. Betty, she's super nice. And so they start thinking people, just like some of you were thinking of people. Our customers think of people who also be nice enough to take a look. Okay, so we call that a recommendation, or recos for short. So let's go back to Maddie's example. Remember, she did 10 presentations her first week. Okay. I'm going to use the low average of 5. Okay. I will tell you that our average with the app now has shot up to 9. Used to be between 5 and 10. Now it's on the higher end of that. So by the way, can someone still give 0, 1, 2, or 3 recommendations? Sure. But then there's always the soccer mom is going to give 15 or 20. Okay. So that's why we average around 9. Okay. I will tell you that most companies average 1 or 2. Why do we average so much more? Well, a couple of reasons. One is that everyone can use this product. It's not like only certain segments of everyone has to eat food, cut their food, right? Our reps are very nice and very laid back and relaxed approach. Okay, so that helps. So great product, a great person. So it's really easy to recommend that. Okay. And we don't use a notebook and pen anymore. We have an app where the customer gets an app too. They can just check mark off people in the app, the contacts that they have, and then hit the share button. And then we'll go into the reps app. So in a matter of 30 seconds, sometimes our reps get even more, 20, 30, 40 recommendations, in just a matter of, 30 seconds. So that technology has really helped us out with that. But I'm just going to use the low average of 5. Let's say, so Maddie, 10 presentations, 5 recommendations. That's now 50 people that she can now contact to show Cutco to. Okay. Now 50 times 5, you can kind of see where I'm going here. It's kind of like a snowball going down a hill, is now 250 people, right? 250 times 5 is 1,250. So the problem isn't that the rep doesn't have enough work. The problem is not enough time. Okay. They're never going to be able to show all of those people. So we help them kind of pick and choose the best ones they want to show. But that's kind of how the recommendations. Let me give you an example of my my aunt, Annie. Now she played back then bridge and canasta and bingo, and she went to this place like a bingo hall, and they play all these games. It was a bunch of old ladies that played these games, and she's like, I'm gonna recommend you all the bingo ladies. She had like the calling tree, and that was 20 people right there. Now, when I understand this, when I contacted them, I had never met them before. Okay, so it was truly a recommendation. I had never met them before, but you know what? I felt like I did. They felt like I did. Okay, I when I talked to them again, I don't hang out at the bingo hall with 60-year-old women. I've never met any of them, but when I contacted them, they said, "Oh, you're Annie's nephew?" I'm like, "Yeah, you play with her on Saturday nights. Bingo." "Oh my gosh, yeah." Did she mention something? Yeah, she said her nephew was showing like this product. Or if they didn't remember, I said, "Oh yeah, well, let me tell you, I get paid just to show it, and she thought you'd be nice enough to take a look." So that was 20 people, right? That was from one aunt. 20 people. Okay. And who did they recommend me to? All the ladies, all these bingo ladies. Other ladies like themselves that I also had never met before. Okay. So, and that's not including everyone else's recommendations. So that's kind of how it kind of takes off. And that is, that's a great, a program that we have. Well, we have, 17 million customers. Okay. 17 million, and, only a few thousand reps at any given time in the country. So obviously only a small, percentage of that is from people that we started with. All the rest, all of those 17 million customers were recommendations. So, okay. All right, what I'm going to do at this point now is I'm going to start to wrap things up. I'm going to meet with each of you, as I mentioned in the beginning, individually. Okay, this usually takes a few minutes or so per person, and I'm going to send you a link to meet with me, and we're going to go over a few final questions. I'm going to post those up there now. Not looking for a 1 or 2 word answer on these. The more you write, the better. And that is so you express yourself. If the past accomplishments you had, future goals. I want it all. Okay. I want to hear it all so that we can use that, because it's the final decision at this point. Most of you will get a final decision today. In fact, many of you will get it immediately, right when we meet at the end. Okay. So I'm going to post the final questions, and I'm going to start calling people one at a time. Here's the order I'm going to go in. Paulo, I'm going to start with you. Then we're going to go Lexi, then Drew, then Bree, Linda, and then Timmy, and then Max, And then finally, Brian. Brian, I know you're last there. It's going to be a little bit of wait. Okay, so don't worry. I will eventually get to you. Of course, anyone that if time starts to run out, or of course, I can always call on the phone. I'm going to try to do everyone right here on this video platform here, but you have plenty of time. If you are done with the questions, then feel free to just play some solitaire or maybe a mobile game on your phone or something. Okay, maybe you can read something, homework or whatever you can do, but I'll eventually get to you. Okay, so all right, Apollo, you're first. Click the link. Thank you. And everyone else, when I'm done with Apollo, come back and I'll Lexi, you're on deck. Lexi and Drew, you're on deck. So I'll call you. You guys will be okay. All right, guys, that's it. That's the end of the interview. Timmy, the questions they're on the system. You haven't done the system yet, but there's it says post final questions. You'll see that when we cover the actual Apex platform. Okay, so let's go back to our handout and see if we covered it all here. All right, I did the chart. I said, why do we average 9 when most companies only average 1 or 2? Okay, this is called popping fear bubbles. Okay, because what's going to happen when they tell their mom and dad or their friend or their husband, wife, whatever, whoever they tell, they got the job. Oh yeah, so I work on recommendations. Okay, what could they hear? Oh, recommendations? Oh, people don't give recommendations. You'd be lucky if you get like 1 or 2. Okay, so if you don't arm them with knowledge, then they're going to be defeated by the person that they talk to. Versus what does my person say? Oh yeah, you're right. Most companies do average only 1 or 2, but here the average is 9 because it's a really great product. It's like laid back, low key approach. They just like recite what I told them in the interview, and it's and I get paid anyways. I tell them I get paid anyways. So I'm going to average 9. Okay. Yeah. Other companies average, 1 or 2, but that, not here. Okay. So, so it's all about arming them with factual knowledge of our sales program so they can feel good. Okay. That's why my show is oftentimes 67%. And sometimes, someone brand new may only have a show of 30%. And I say, hey, don't feel bad. That happens. You're just not smooth yet in the knowledge, and maybe that can happen. So that's your goal is to get up to, remember, tying back to two or three TLAs ago. You want to get to that 60+% show to training of people you hire, come to training. Okay. Yeah, guys, what questions are you looking for? I'm so confused. What questions do you want?
I think we all got confused, Chris, when you were talking about the section where you break everybody out into
Oh,
rooms and ask them questions and stuff. We
that's
thought you were actually talking about us,
okay.
not when we were doing an interview and breaking the new reps
Wow,
out. So I think that's
that
where we all got.
makes sense. Okay, I was so good at rehearsing the interview that you guys thought it was an actual interview. That's amazing. Okay,
Yeah,
so
a little bit.
I take that as a compliment. All right. That's awesome. You guys actually thought you're going to get questions. Okay. No, I was giving an example of what would happen if it was an interview. And the questions are not on Zoom here. They're going to be on the Apex system. Okay. So I don't have them here. They would only be on the interview system. Okay. She actually thought Apollo was actually waiting for his one-on-one with me. He was waiting to see if he was going to get hired or not. Okay. So, and Lexi was on deck. Okay. She's like, what? No, guys, that was just role playing with you guys. I was just practicing with you guys an actual interview. Okay. So, all right. So let's talk about that for a minute. Let's talk about the post. You should not be 7 or more minutes. These should be 3 to 5 minutes. Remember? Okay. 3 to 5 minutes. If there's like only 2 people, this will happen. There'll be interviews that only have like 2 people in it. Okay. 2 or 3. And I still have the same thing in the beginning. I say, we're so busy, we got to interview 2 at a time. 2 or 3 at a time. And they're like, oh, wow, they're busy. They can interview like 2 people at a time. So whether you have 2 people or 10 people, at like the work, the interview is the same. Okay. One person your interview is going to go quicker is you're just, it's a lot quicker, but, short and sweet, get to the point. Okay. And I'm going to give you, we're going to have to do the post. I'm going to put that in the chat as well. But there's a couple of other things on here. You see where it says post the final questions before starting, but call the first person in right away. You guys see that? So Apollo wouldn't even have a chance. I say, Apollo, you're going to finish the questions verbally. Okay. Everyone else I want the more you write, the better. So I want them occupied. I want them doing stuff while I'm meeting with people. I don't want people like getting impatient and bored and stuff. That's why I said, hey, if you're done with all the questions, feel free to play a mobile game on your phone. I'll eventually get to you. Okay. That really helps from no one dropping out. You're going to find, and you're going to see this in the script. There's going to be a script for this. It's so important that this one is actually scripted. The actual interview, you want more in an outline form, like kind of redoing this in your own, after watching the recordings and watching me doing an interview, you can kind of make your own outline, but, you're going to, I'll do a post right now. I'll do Apollo right now. Everyone listen to how I do Apollo. Ready, Apollo? All right. So Apollo's, all right, Apollo, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Doing good, man. You're first, as you know. I'm just looking at your information here. It says that you went to, such and such high school. Let me just pretend he's from Rochester. Looks like you went to Rush Henrietta High School. Okay, so RH, awesome. You graduated a couple years ago, and did you get like a diploma, a GED, or a diploma?
Just a diploma.
Diploma, awesome, great. Any college at all? And did you go to college at all?
No, not yet. I'm just saving up money to, go and do without all the debt.
Cool. Where do you want to go? And let's say he says, SUNY, Bingham, whatever. He's a MCC, whatever. He'll tell me college. Awesome. All right, cool. That's great. And Apollo, did I answer all of your questions? Did you understand everything about position? Did I answer all your questions?
Yeah, you did.
Cool. All right, cool. So no questions. You understood everything fully?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So I always ask that question twice in 2 different ways, because a lot of times in the second way I ask it, they're like, actually, I did have one question. Okay. So the first thing is, did you understand everything? And say, yes. Did I answer all your questions? Yes. Okay. So you don't have any other questions? You got it. So if they say yes to all that, my goal is that they say yes to all that, because I want to have a really thorough interview where I don't have to answer all, I don't have to re-explain things. But if they did have a question, that's okay. I would be like, oh, okay, yeah, let me just real quick re-explain that for you. All right, awesome. And Apollo, can you picture yourself, sitting down, 30, 40, 50-year-old mom, okay? Moms and dads, okay? Mostly moms, being comfortable and explaining Cutco to them. Do you think you can do well in that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've used Cutco my entire life, so just being able to
Oh, you guys
actually.
have some Cutco?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my gosh. All right. I love when I learn about people having, that's awesome. I really like when people have Cutco. That's super cool. Because those reps have more conviction and they have so I guess that leaves me with just one final question. What's one quality about yourself you feel you have, where you feel that would help you do well in the, since we can't hire everybody, something about yourself that you feel you do well here, or you feel you at least deserve a shot at the job, a quality you have, you think that would mesh well with showing Cutco to these people. What would you say? What about yourself you say would help you do well?
Definitely just being able to talk to people I don't know right off the bat. Just being able to, kind of connect with them through any
Great.
way possible.
Do you consider yourself a very personable person? You can like talk to anybody?
Oh, yeah.
That's a good quality to have. I like that. That's really help with, especially with marketing. All right. So here's what I'm gonna do, Apollo. At this point, I am ready for a final decision. You're gonna get your decision right now. You don't have to wait for phone calls. So that's good. Many people wait for a phone call for a long time, but I looked at your information. You went to a good high school. You are a very personal person. I can tell. I've been talking with you. You have Cutco. That's a huge plus. Not required, by the way, obviously, but you have it, and that's kind of a plus. And you just seem like a really easy to talk to person. So I absolutely feel that you can talk to moms and dads and 30, 40, 50-year-olds in a very, very relaxed manner, confident manner. So congratulations, you got the job.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Are you pumped?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Can't wait
we're
to help
excited.
other people out.
Yeah, we're excited, for you as well, and excited to have you join the team. And I just have a couple of information I want to give you, and I'll send you on your way. Okay. So you're going to be a part of our 2-day training class. Remember, I talked about that in the interview. It's 2 days. You're going to learn everything about what to say and how to say it. Okay. It's going to be great. We're going to give you all the notes you need to do really well here. Okay. And that is coming up next Wednesday and Thursday. Not this Wednesday, Thursday. Next Wednesday and Thursday is our next class. It's October 4th and 5th. October 4th and 5th. Yep. And the times are 12 to 6:30 on day one, and 11:30 to 6. I'm going to email this. So keep an eye on your email. You're going to get all this on email as well, including the Zoom ID. Okay. And that is going to be with me. I'm one of your, one of the main trainers, and a little bit of Marie from, remember the video you saw in the interview there. I play a couple of her courses as well. So you're going to get really the best training possible. Super excited. Just start brainstorming. You can start brainstorming people you want to, you can practice on. We want you to get off to a fast start. Don't contact anyone yet. You don't know what to say yet. Okay. You don't know what to say yet. So don't like try to set up anything yet. Just kind of get excited and brainstorm of some people that you can practice on. All right. And then we'll see you next Wednesday at 12 sharp. All right. You'll get the Zoom ID. The final email will be from me the morning of. You'll get the Zoom ID to come into class.
Okay.
Congrats again, Apollo. I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see you next week.
Okay.
All right. Bye. So that is a post, guys. I will put that script in the WhatsApp for you. Couple final checklists. These are just the Apex. This is the name of the interview platform that we use. Okay. This is just some tips here. Close everything else on your computer. Now, we already talked about and try to be wired in. Wireless is never as good as actual wire. This to show you how important it is. I am the absolute complete opposite end of my house from where the router is. The router is in the basement, the modem and the router. Okay. And I literally had a professional electrician take the wire all the way through, run it through the basement ceiling, up through the wall, okay, to get to the garage. I'm above the garage. Over the side, kind of snake around, is 100-foot cord, 100 feet. Over to snake, and then up, and then drilled a hole in the up on above in the again, I'm in the room above in a finished room above the garage. Came up through and plugged in. Crazy, right? Also, I don't have to be on wireless, which is unstable. Okay. Now, if you can't do that, make sure you're close to make sure maybe you can get a $25 booster. They're called boosters or extenders, I think it's called. You want to make sure the wireless is strong. If you are on wireless, you want to make sure it's strong from where you are, from your sitting. Now, we already talked about it a couple times ago. We talked about having a nice background. Okay. Worst case scenario, you would have a background that looks kind of like if I look at Drew's screen, everyone look at Drew's screen. He's probably in his apartment right now, but it kind of looks like an office because I see like a tree over there and I see like a window. Okay. That looks pretty good. Oh, look at Timmy. Timmy looks like he's in an office. I would just have a light though. I would have a ring light. Okay. So you want to avoid any darkness. Okay. You don't want to look like you're in a witness protection program or something. And then obviously Brian is probably the best setup, is the beautiful office. Worst case scenario, a white screen is okay, like Apollo, but I would have a couple plaques behind. Okay, look at Brian or look at Timmy's. You can have a couple, plaques on the wall that you can put on there. Okay, if that's where you're going to interview. I mean, that may not be where Apollo's going to do his interviews, but something like, yeah, you can put, yes, you can get a frame at Walmart for $2. They have those little 8.5 by 11 cheap frames for like $3. Okay. So we talked about that already. That was just go back to the recording from a couple weeks ago. All right.
Hey, Chris,
Yeah.
do you mind if I add something in real quick?
Quickly. Yeah.
So, just one thing that I want to tell you guys that happened to me when I got my interview email, it was in my spam folder. I almost completely missed my interview. I almost missed training because they all showed up in spam. So one thing I just wanted to let you guys know was, when you do your interviews, make sure you tell them to check their spam in their email when you say, I'm gonna send you an email, yada, 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 yada. That was it.
Yeah. Yep.
Thanks, Chris.
Yep. Yeah. And luckily the company does give that same reminder when they send the interview reminders out. It does say check all of your inboxes, including junk and spam in case it shows up there. Yep. And then you can say that. Oh, so this is to save bandwidth, right? To make sure there's no lag. Okay. When possible, you can find it along. You can get those, by the way, it's called an Ethernet cable. Very cheap. I got it. You want to get a minimum, the number 6 there. There's like 5. There's some people sell 5s, which is, you don't want that. It's the slower. You want to get the number 6 or even 7. Ethernet cable, and 100 feet is like, I mean, 50 feet was like $15, $20 on Amazon. Very cheap. Okay. Don't be late. Don't be early. Right on time. Boom. So this is just some reminders on what to say and what to do on the interview. Okay. Post interviews, 4 to 5 minutes. Remember I said that 4 to 5 minutes max. So this is kind of like a nice little reminder sheet to do checklist. Okay. Tech challenges. Do not worry about that. You're going to see people coming in. This interview this morning was perfect. I ran an interview this morning, 9:25. Okay. I had 3 people come in. At one point I had 5. At one point, like the videos were coming in and out. Okay. It doesn't mean that they are gone. It just, the system does that on your end to save internet speed. So it might hide some, if it notices that someone's video is taking up like too much, it will just like hide their video. Okay. Doesn't necessarily mean they dropped out or left. So you just assume everyone's there until the end. Just keep saying their name. Even if like Linda's video was gone, I would say, all right, Paulo, then Max. Okay. Then Linda, I'll get to you at the end. Even though she may not be there. Okay. She might be there. So don't worry about any tech challenges people have. Just keep going. Okay. You can always finish up with someone over the phone. Okay. And then if someone is really sharp, you can always send them the video and do a one-on-one over the phone with them. That happens once in a while. Okay. And this is the outline I want you guys to use. This is your homework assignment, is what are some verbiage that you're going to, this is kind of like the stuff I did in the interview, and you're going to kind of write it. When you write something down, it helps you retain it better. Okay. Oh, post from 3 stars down. Okay. So we rate people 1 star, 2 star, 3 star. Okay. There's certain tests that go through. Okay. High school, schooling, the better the school, usually, not always, but that's a good indicator. It could be an indication. It's not guaranteed. It's an indication. Okay. The eyeball test. Okay. Eyeball test. You know what the eyeball test is? Okay. So someone's in my interview, they got a hoodie on, they got sunglasses. Okay. Or maybe a hat on backwards. Okay. I see, a bunch of beer cans in the background. Okay. And they're, okay. That's not a good eyeball look. Okay. Eyeball. Okay. Versus, looking at Brian, I'm like, ooh, that already looks like a sharp person. Okay. Again, it's just one of the indicators. It's not the main. It's many tests. Okay. Eyeball tests, zip code. I mean, we have your manager will help you with who can be a great, applicant, high school, graduate or GED. These are all things that you'll find out from someone to see if, okay. Someone said, no, I, dropped out at 10th grade. Yeah, that would be a not a great indicator, right? That would be like a negative one, right? So I always try to look for reasons to accept people, though. I don't necessarily look for reasons to reject people. I look for more reasons to accept people. But some managers are a lot more picky than me, and that's fine. Okay, so so I'm doing the sharpest person first. Okay, so in other words, so Brian, okay, I would say Brian would be first, and Joseph, who the hoodie and the sunglasses and the beer cans in the background, he would be last. Okay, I'm not gonna say why I do the order. That's the order. I'm like, hey, Brian, you're first, and then Joseph, we'll get to you at the end there. Someone's got to be first, someone's got to be last, and it doesn't
Chris, do
necessarily
you do best first, worst last because you kind of want to give them even another test of waiting, seeing if they're patient enough to sit there? Or is that just
no,
kind
I
of the
just
way
don't
it's
want
always been?
no, I just don't want the good people to like leave before I get to them. So I just want to make sure I just get the good people first. Those are the ones I really want. So I'm going to give them more attention, more time. And yeah, you're right, Drew. Those people will have a longer wait, and so be it. I'm not stressing about it. Versus if it was like a sharp person, I'm like, I don't want to lose this person. I don't want them to maybe they have to go, maybe they have a class coming up. So you always want, just like if you got like great leads in Cutco, you're always going to do those people first. People have Cutco, right? The knife emoji. We always say, hey, show the best people first. Same thing. There's so many parallels between the sales rep job and the management job. It's not even funny. There's like side by side tracks. Okay. So, so see the best leads first. Same thing in the interview. See the best leads first. Okay. Another parallel. There's so many parallels between this sales rep job and the Cutco presentation for you guys is like an interview for me. Okay, you're getting customers, I'm getting team members. Another parallel. Okay, every time you do a demo, it's like me doing an interview. Okay, so you're adding customers, I'm adding teammates. Ultimately, the same thing. So, okay. So that is it, guys. Like I said, 6:15 is the absolute latest that we said that we'd be done. So I got to wrap things up here. This will be put in the WhatsApp group, as I mentioned. Okay. And then by next week, many of you will be able to run your first interview. You don't have to by next week. I'm saying you will be able to, starting next week and maybe even sooner than that. So, so that is today's session. We're going to put in the app this recording. We're going to put in the document once again, as well as the post. You can you can actually start posting people before you actually even do the interview. You can, let's say Brian has like 5 people, and then Lexi or Bree might be called by Brian and say, hey, Bree, do you want to, or Lexi, I have a few people, I'm going to pick these 2 people, the best people, right? I go do those first. Can you meet with Samantha? And so you can just know that 1-page script on how to accept someone before you actually do the interview, because Brian already did the interview, and you guys can just do the ending part where you bring them onto the team, right? So it's okay. Some people can learn the post first, before the actual, interview. So normally you do the interview, then the post. That's the normal order. But, if you wanted to help post someone first, you can do that. Just ask your manager for that. Okay. Especially helpful when there's a lot of people. I might be like, Drew, let's say Drew's assistant manager, right? And I say, hey, Drew, dude, I got like 7 people in my interview right now. And I still have 10 people at PDI. I'm not gonna have time for all 7 people. Can you meet with like 2 or 3 of them? And I'll probably tell them which ones to bring. I'll say, hey, they're decent. You can bring them on the team. And so I'll do like the first 3 and he can do the other 3 or something like that. Okay. 2 or 3. So sometimes that happens too. It's really helpful to save time. But if it was just me and no one's available, that's okay. If it's just you and you have to do all 5 people or 6 people yourself, that's fine. Just as long as you prepare ahead of time. Hey, it's a few minutes per person. And if you're first called in, you have no wait. If you're second called in, it's about a 3 to 5 minute wait. If you're last called in, play some solitaire, play a game on your phone or something, or do some reading. But I'll get to you. All right. So you're going to get a lot of stuff in the, I know it's a lot to digest. Make sure you do the learning path too, because there's more information on there on the interview. And then starting next week, we're going to change topics. Okay. It's October 2nd next week, right? Next Monday is October 2nd. And we're going to dive into some other topics. So we're going to kind of put the interview to rest for a little bit. Of course, you can always get better, always learn, but we're going to be talking about other topics starting next week. So that's it. That concludes our interview sessions, guys. And very excited to, again, see many of you in Olean. Hey, if you didn't make Olean, no worries. We got some really killer conferences coming up. We got one in November called the fall, called January Program Kickoff. It's really a kickoff to the new year. We also have a really special. This one's awesome. This one's 100% paid for. It's called Future Executive Meeting. Hotel room, meals. Jeff Bry pays for this. A personal, the whole thing is paid for by the region budget. That one's coming up in December. That's only for that one's select invites, and then everyone is invited to the VMAs, the Video Music Awards. No, the Vector Marketing Awards. Okay, the VMAs, same title as you probably heard on TV, but the Vector Marketing Awards, VMAs, and that is like Academy. Like the Academy Awards. Okay. People are going to be in tuxes, and you don't have to be in a tux, but I will be in a tux. It's a black tie event. It's amazing. It's like a very special event. It's awards of 2023. So the year we're in now, that's like part of it. And then the other half is the kickoff of 2024. So that's held in January, mid-January. So we got one coming up in November and one coming up in January. So we got a couple cool conferences coming up. And those are, some of our favorite times or had at conferences. All right, guys, if you have any questions, you can stay after. Otherwise, you're free to go finish up the learning path and check the WhatsApp later on tonight for some more documents and recordings. And we'll see you guys next Monday. Bye-bye.